A private group seeking to help build our border wall says it's begun construction on its own wall along the southern border. Organizers with We Build the Wall say they've sealed off a break in the existing fence line in the El Paso area. The crowd-funded half-mile wall reportedly cost about $8 million to build, but they raised the money and build it they did. Meanwhile, an Obama-appointed federal judge has blocked President Trump from transferring Pentagon funds to help build parts of the wall. Joining me right now, presidential historian Doug Wead. Good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you, Trish.
The president wants to use Pentagon funds. He says it's a national security risk. Is there precedent for that?
Oh, sure. Of course there is, but there's a precedent for left-leaning judges to interrupt everything that he does, too. I think this story's a hoot. I mean, George Soros can dump hundreds of millions of dollars of his own money to get things done, but some citizens, the average donation, I think, was $67. Some citizen wants to give $67 to build the wall, and we got a catastrophe on our hands.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, back to the president trying to use Pentagon funds. I mean, do you see the border situation and the challenges we're confronting there with now over 500,000 people already this year alone coming into this country illegally and being apprehended, I should say, at the border? Do you see that as having precedent? In other words, can we equate using Pentagon funds for security reasons right now for the border with something else in history, Doug?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an emergency, and we have many emergency decrees like this in military times. Woodrow Wilson took over all of the railroads, just took them over and said the government runs them now because it was needed at the time. And that's the first duty of a president when he's sworn in on Inauguration Day. The main duty of the president is protect the nation, protect the people, defend the people, and a border is basic to that. I can see it.
And so really, you know, maybe he shouldn't have to fight Congress. Maybe he should be able to get some of these funds for parts of the wall anyway. We'll see. But back to, the individuals themselves, Doug. They're out there, you know, $20, $60. They've raised $8 million and they're building part of the wall. I mean, there's capitalism for you, right? People putting money to work where they want. I mean, maybe they don't get anything financially at this point out of that, but I guess they get the peace of mind of knowing that they're contributing towards strengthening the border.
And something they believe in, and liberals should do that too. If you care about the people of Honduras, I went to Honduras, helped bring water to villages there in Honduras. You can say you love the Honduran people and you don't have to promote illegal immigration. I mean, change the law if you want to make it legal for them to come.
Well, but, I mean, if you want to make it legal for them to come, no, in all seriousness, because I'm tired of this just idea that we just open up our borders, right, Doug? I mean, if you're doing that, then basically you're taking on the responsibility for all of Latin America. Effectively, if you say we have one big open border, then we need to somehow be ready, willing, and able to provide for all of those people there. I don't think they're going to like it very much if we say, hey, we're taking things over. I mean, that's just, it doesn't make any sense. And I understand it's emotional because we're a very giving country. We're a very giving nation. And it's in our instincts. It's in our DNA to say, hey, come here. We can help. But at the same time, there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it.
That's right. And this is so political because I've told you back in the 1970s, I was bringing Asians into America, orphans into Travis Air Force Base in California, and Democrats, Joe Biden, was blocking it and stopping it because Asians, they were afraid, would vote Republican someday, and they didn't want them coming in. So immigration
really lousy. I got to tell you, I'm getting increasingly disappointed with our country and this polarization and all the partisan bickering because, to me, you should have a set of values, right? And subscribe to that and be consistent with it. And it's disappointing when I see this about shift. Just because it happens to be Donald Trump, they don't, want to actually stand for the same policies that they used to, Doug.
It's frustrating, but there's one glimmer of hope to me, and that's in spite of all the incessant propaganda, 63 million Americans elected him president anyway.
And he may get elected again.
It could happen. The more they pushed, the more the Americans said, nah, I believe we'll go the other way, thank you.
Yeah, now, well, you know, freedom. Right? Doug, thank you. Good to see you, sir.
Another
conservative Google worker calling out his own party for